Okay, so let us start today's class. So in the previous class, we have seen how to handle web tables, and today we will see how we can handle date pickers. So date pickers basically are customized elements. So what does it mean? Even web tables also the customized elements, because in every web page or every website you can't see the same kind of a design, right? How the developer designed the tables or date pickers, so the same kind of a design won't be there on every web page. So whatever the script we have written, so that will be different from one element to another element. So it is a combination of multiple elements, right? So if I look at the date picker, so date picker comes, sometimes you have drop down, sometimes you have a table, sometimes you have a links. So it is a combination of different elements. So which is called as a customized element, or we can say non-standard element. So to handle such type of elements, so we need to write a customized code. So that means same code won't work for every element. So we need to keep changing the logic. We need to change the code for every type of element. So date picker is one of the element like that. So different pages, you can see different type of drop down, sorry, date pickers. So for example, let's go to this automation practice page, and here you can see, so these are different type of date pickers. So you can see this is one type of date picker. This is called jQuery date picker, and Bootstrap date pickers all this are there, and range type of date pickers are there. So sometimes you can see only one date picker where we can select check-in and check-out dates, date of birth, right? So to have these type of things, we can have date pickers on the web page. So if I look at this is one type of date picker which is called as jQuery date picker. So you can see we can navigate back and forward like this, and here these are the dates. This is basically table. So if I inspect any of this element, you can see the table tag inside the DOM, and just go back and see this is a table basically, right? But these are the links. This is forward and form. This is next and previous buttons, which is basically buttons. This is one type of drop down, which is jQuery drop down, and you can just say bottom one. So here you can see this is also jQuery drop down, but which is having drop downs. So you don't need to navigate previous and back here. So you can simply select the year, whichever year you want like this, and select the month, and you can pick the date from the date picker. So this is another type of design. And here, this is a range. If I look at this, so here we can select. If I click on it, it will open one type of date picker here. So we can select the date from this, and again select the second one, click on the date from this. So this is called a range. And this is a little bit old design, but in the latest applications, you can see the different kind of a design. So for example, these are three different type of designs. So let me show you another type of design, especially when you're working with travel applications or any banking kind of applications. You can see this type of design. You can see this check-in and check-out date. You can just click on it. See, this is all one single element. So this is one part, this is the second part. So we can just go to the next and back like this. So we can select the check-in date and immediately check-out date like this. So this is a different design. This is Bootstrap date picker element. Okay. So for every type of date picker, we need to write a different type of logic. So same logic, same kind of a code won't work for every date picker. But one advantage is, suppose if you have an application, throughout your application, the date picker element will be the having same design. For example, let's say in your application, the date picker is placed two, three places or five different pages. So entire application, they maintain only one single type of a design. Okay. So once you write the code for one date picker, you can reuse that code for other date pickers also. If you are working with specific type of application or single type of application. Okay. But if you are working with the different applications, like definitely you need to implement a different logic for that. But most of the times, if you are working with finding a single project, single web application, throughout the web application, you will have a same kind of a design. So once you write your code for one date picker, you can reuse it for other date pickers also. So that is one advantage which we have. Okay. Now let me show you how we can handle all these type of date pickers, and some of them I will give you as an assignment. You guys can try. I will provide the solution for them also, so that you will be able to practice different kinds of date pickers. This is purely logic based. Okay. Right. So let us start with simple one first. We will see how to what is the way we can handle and so how we can find the day, how we can find the year, month, and then dates. So these are the three main crucial things, right? Year selection, month selection, and date selection. These are the three important things which we need to focus on. And other important thing is, suppose if you look at demo type of date pickers, like this is a demo kind of a date picker. So in this, we can select previous future date and also previous date. You can just navigate, go back like this, and you can navigate future like this. So all kinds of dates, previous and future, all kinds of date you can select in this. Similarly, here also you can select past and future years, future months, and also past years, past months. You can select because this is just a demo purpose they have provided. But if you go to real applications or real thing, for example, let's say again, booking.com, this type of drop down, booking.com. So here, can you go back to check-in date? So can you go back to the previous year, previous month, previous date here? No, because they are disabled here. You can see we cannot go back to the previous. Only we can select only future dates. Even it can be check-in date or checkout date. We can select only uh, future month or future year or future date. We cannot go back to the past, right? This is a one time. And sometimes you may see date of births, date of births. So in those particular date pickers, you can select only the past dates. You cannot select the current and future dates, right? In the date of birth field especially. So such type of restrictions will be there for date pickers. So at the time of handling, you need to carefully consider them, right? So first of all, we will see the demo part first thing and how we can handle the way of handling the date picker. Then we will apply the same thing for other type of date pickers. Okay. So is my voice clear to everyone? Is my voice clear to everyone? Is it audible? Okay, great. So now let us move on to the first one, date picker one. So the date pickers basically is an input elements. Okay, input box. If I inspect this element, you can see input tag. So whenever you see input tag, happily you can use fill method. So there is no need to handle the date picker element. Just directly use fill and provide the date whichever format it is accepting. That's it. So direct method, if it is working, so rely on that. Don't unnecessarily don't make it complicated by writing complex logics, such type of drop downs. Simply handle this with your fill method. Okay. Sometimes if the fill is not working, right? So then you can go with the date picker element. Then try to implement the logic for this date picker. If the fill is not working, if the fill is working, then happily go with the fill method and provide the date in the string format. It will accept. So 19% of the times, the date pickers are basically input elements. So they can accept the dates in fill using fill method. If it is not working, then secondary alternatively, you can use this particular date picker to select the date. Okay. All right. So now let us see how we can write or implement the logic for the date picker. So don't write anything. I think somebody is writing something. So don't use pens or anything, guys. Okay. Right. So let's go back to VS Code editor and create a new file. I'll call it as jQuery date picker. This is called as a jQuery date picker, guys. Okay, jQuery means Java query. Using this is one of the language. By using it, it's got designed. So jQuery date picker dot spec dot ts. jQuery date picker dot spec dot ts. Okay, so now, so what is the logic behind that? So first we will try with the fill method and then we'll see how we can handle this using a logic part. Okay, so go back to VS Code and write the code. First of all, let us import test comma expect comma locator. If you want it, you can import locator also. Sorry, import in the curly braces test comma expect a comma. So locate from @playwright slash test. Okay, so now we have imported a package from Playwright, and then we'll start writing with the test method. So I can say test, the first parameter, jQuery date picker, and the second parameter is a page picture that we need to put inside the curly brace, and it is an asynchronous function. Asynchronous function. So this is an arrow function. Right. So this is the structure, right? So in this, let us start implementing the code. So first await page dot go to, and we need to launch a application. So this is a URL of the application. And once it is launched, so the first we will try with the fill method, and then we will handle the date picker. So first of all, we need to capture this element, input element we need to capture first. So once you capture, this is the input element basically, right? So there is a ID is available. So we can just use this ID, hash ID. So matching with the element. So I'm just taking this value. This is the date picker element. Page dot locator, specify this locator, and then I'm getting into a variable. So const, this is a date picker element, right? So this is a locator type. So what this will return? This will return locator. Sorry. Okay, so this is a locator date picker. So we will try to handle directly with the fill method. And before that, we can also verify this is visible or not, right? So how we can check the visible or not? By writing proper assertion, like say expect, okay, and I can say date picker, or we can call it as a date input. Okay, this is the right term. So let's take a date input, and it should be visible. So what is the method? To be visible, That's it, right? So this will basically check the visibility of the element, date picker element. So now we already taken this element. We need to check we need to fill the value into this using fill method. How we can do that? So using fill method. So using fill method. So date input dot directly, you can say fill. So here we can pass the data exactly the same format, right? So whichever format this date picker is handling, we need to pass that format, exactly same format. Okay. So here I provided the MMDD 3 format. It will accept the date. So first month we need to pass, and then date, and then year. So the format is MMDD YY. Okay. So first we need to pass month. So this month is May. So I'm just passing June. So I say 06, which is representing June, slash, and date. So let's take 20th, and then 2025. So I'm just giving some date like this, MMDD 3 format. So we directly fill this value. So I'm just wait for some time here. Await page dot wait for timeout. So we'll just see whether it is got selected the date correctly or not. So I've just selected June. This is the month, date, and then year. This is just directly using fill method. Let's go and execute jQuery date picker. So just removing these things. jQuery date picker dot spec.ts and headed what I'm running. No test for spelling mistake. We miss a dot here actually. So now it is started running. Yes. So it is launched my page. Now I can just look at this exactly. June 2025 is got selected and here it gets stopped. So fill is properly working. So 99% of the time fill method work for jQuery type of drop downs most of the times. So you don't need to worry about the lengthy logic for that. In case sometimes if it is not allowed, then we need to implement the logic. Okay. So let's try to implement the logic now. So very important, listen carefully. A lot of things you will learn something new in this. Okay, so before selecting the date from the date picker, first we need to have some data. Okay, so here we will specify the data. So what type of date we want to select. Okay, select one called as a target date. So what is the target date we want to select? So we need to maintain three variables. So one is year. Let's say 2026 or 25. So whichever year you want, you can maintain one variable. And then month, take everything as a string. Okay, because in the application, so everything is a string only. So let me take as a string, single quote or double quote. Then month. So let's say May, something like this. And then const date equal to also 10. And remember one important thing here. If I go back to the date picker, so which format it is allowing here, suppose I'm selecting any date here. So when I'm selecting, you can see this is the format. First month, DD, YY. So this is the format actually, right? But at the time of taking the data, we have taken this format. So year is okay, string, date is also fine. But we have taken the month. I'm taking month in the different format. This is May. But here the month is also in number format. You can see this. So why you have taken like this? Because so when you click on this element, here you can see the month is in string format like this in the letters alphabets. So every time we need to take this month and compare with our expected month. Suppose if it is not matching, then we need to go to another one, again capture this month and compare with our month. So that is the reason we have to take the month in this particular format. But ultimately, once you selected any date or anything, it will automatically take month in the number format only. Okay. So that is a one important thing you need to remember. So this is the target date as of now I've selected. Later, if you want to test the date picker with the different dates, you can change the dates in the different way. So this is the target date. Okay. So once you selected this date, once you maintain this data, we need to go and handle the date picker. And before that, we need to do one important thing. So by default, this is the input element. So you won't see the date picker. So to see the date picker element, first we need to click on this input element. Once you click on this, then only this element is opened, right? So click action we need to perform on this element. So we already captured the date input earlier. So then we need to perform the click action. Take this input and perform the click action. So this will return promise, right? Click method returns the promise or not. Yes, it is returning the promise. So we need to say await. Okay. So here we will start handling the date picker. So this is using fill method is approach one. Another approach two is using date picker itself. This is an approach one. Okay. So now I click on the date picker element. So this will open the date picker. Opens the date picker. So once it is open the date picker, now we need to start selecting the date from the date picker. So now I have maintained some data here. We can keep changing this data, whichever date you want to select. Okay, fine. So now here, how we can implement this? Understand the logic. So as soon as you click on this, first thing, we need to capture this one. So first we need to select the month and year. And once it is selected, then we go for the data. That is the next thing. First, we need to select the proper month and year. So for that, we have already mentioned our target data, year, month, and data, right? Target year, target month, and target date. So we need to first capture this. As soon as you open the date picker, by default, it will show you the current month, current year, and current date is got highlighted. Now the first step is, as soon as you open the date picker, we need to capture this information, the current month and year. Okay, sometimes whatever data we maintain here, it may be the current year and current month also, right? So that is the reason we need to first capture this data and compare this with our expected month and expected year. So forget about the date. This is the next thing which we'll handle later. First, focus only on the year and month. So as soon as you capture this month and year, we need to compare that with our target year and month. If both are equal, both are matching, then we will jump into the date part. So we'll go and select one of the date from this calendar. Okay, that is a one scenario. Second thing, we capture this month and year, and then we compare with our expected date, expected year and month, not matched. So then what we need to do, we need to click on the next button. Keep clicking on the next button. So again, capture this, compare. If it is not matching, again click on the next. Again, capture this and compare. Not matching, then again click on this. So how many times we have to click on this button like this? So what is is there any exit condition? When to stop clicking on the button? We keep clicking on the button multiple times till we get the expected month and year on the date picker. Okay, so can we put the condition in for loop or while loop or whichever loop you want? Can we put the condition like this? Do we know, first of all, how many times we have to click this to get our expected month and year? We don't know, right? We don't know exactly how many times we have to click on this. So when to stop? We don't know. So in that case, we will try to use while loop with the true condition. We will start with the true condition. So I'm implementing a while loop, okay, with the true condition. I'll implement while loop with the true conditions. And inside this, I will capture the month. So as soon as you open the page like this, first time when you click on this, it will open the drop down just now. Sorry, it will open the date picker. I'm still loading. Yeah. So let's capture this. How to capture this element? If I say inspect, you can look at this. Month is a different element. Again, year is also a different element. So both are two different elements. So now we need to capture month and date properly. So how to capture them? If I inspect this element, there are two spans are there. So we need to properly capture this month and year. You can see for the May, there is a class attribute. For the year also, there is a class attribute directly available. So it is easy to write a locator for that. So I'm just using class. How to use class? Using dot class. Perfect. Month is matching. Similarly, let us matching with the year. Dot year. Perfect. So these two locators we can use to locate the month and year. So first I'm taking the month from the date picker. Okay, so how to grab that value? So await page dot locator and specify that locator dot. You can use inner text or you can use a text content, whichever you want. Okay, so let me use text contents because if you don't have a date, any breaks or line breaks, you can happily directly go with the text content itself. So there is no problem. So I'm using text content. And this will actually return what? The current month. What we are capturing here, the current month and year. So current month is returning. So that I'm storing in a variable. I'm creating one const variable. I call it as a current month. Current month. Similarly, let us capture the current year also. So here, taking another variable and name it as a current year. Now, what is the locator for that? This is a locator dot class name. So this is exactly matching with the current year that I can specify. Okay. So now we captured current month and current year from the date picker. Now, suppose whatever month year we specified here as a target date, if they are matching with this current month and year, for example, then do we need to navigate to the next button? No, right? We don't need to navigate because we already found here itself the current month, current year and month. So we no need to navigate. So we need to put one condition, guys, here. What is a condition? Month locator. So this is a month and this is a current year. Dot is missing in the current. Yeah, sorry. Dot is missing. Okay. So now we capture the current month and year. So we need to put one condition. So what is the condition? If the current month, whatever we capture, the current month equal to our expected month and the current year equal to our expected year. Okay, if matching. So then what we need to do, if they are matching, simply we need to break the loop. We need to break the loop. So when you break the loop, by the time the current month and year is matched, so we no need to navigate further. So if the if condition is matched, we no need to go to the next button. So it will immediately break. Suppose if it is not matching, so then we need to go to the next button. Again, first let us focus on the future date, month and year. And the later I will show you how we can select the past one. Okay, first we will focus on the future date, month and year, future one. So I'm taking the future date. So we can say future. Have this for now, okay? And we will also write the code for past, future or past. So both codes we will write independently, okay? First one, we capture the current month and year and check they are exactly matching with the current month and year, whatever we expected. If both are matching, then break it. Next condition, for example, future date, if you want to select. So we have captured the current year and month, not matched, for example. Then I need to click on this next button. I need to click on this next button. If they are not matching, we need to click on the next button, right? So inspect this element, the button. And again, there is an element, there is a class attribute is there. So let us check that attribute is matching or not using this class, 0 element. Okay, because there are some spaces in it. So that is the reason it is not matching. Okay, so what we will do is we will try this in different way. These two are the anchor tags. Just a moment. Do we have any class your date picker? Okay, so we can use it. Okay, the problem is we cannot provide the complete class. Okay, just provide a partial one. So previous and the next is there, right? So let me take the next one. This is the one. And if you try this class, 0 element is matching. Okay, so what I will do is after the space, whatever is there, so I just try to remove this. Okay, now it is matching. Okay. So don't take anything with icons. Okay, icons are dynamic most of the times. They are not unique. Okay, so icon related stuff you don't take. right? So this is matching. You can see this. I just removed the second part of the class. So this is matching with the next element. So I'm using it. Go back. So here I'm saying await page dot locator, page dot locator. And what we need to do on this, we need to click on the next. So we need to click on this element. Click. Okay, if the current month matching with the current year, break the loop. If it is not matching, then go to the future. Okay, we will implement past later. Okay, so that we will do it later. So this is a click. If it is matching, then break the loop. If it is not matching, obviously go to the future. Okay, obviously it will go to the future. So we no need to put this in the else block. We can directly keep it inside the while loop and it will go to the next. And again, it will go up, again true. Capture the month and year again. Compare it. If both are matching, break it. If not matching, the next statement will be executed. Again, go back and again capture the month and year. Again, it is not matched. Again, click on the future. So how many times this loop will repeat? Whenever this condition true or whenever this condition is got matched, then only the while loop will be exited. So by the time our expected month and year will be selected from the drop down itself. Sorry, selected from the date picker. Okay, so this is a one condition. So by the time we select completed this loop, expected month and year is got selected. Okay, so we'll focus on the date later. Let us check the logic. So till here, whatever we implemented is working fine or not. So I'm selecting year 2026. Okay, let's make it as a June 15. Okay, this is our future date. Next year, June month and 15th. Let us see whether it is exactly selecting or not. Once it is working fine, then we will move on to the date part. Okay, now it is launched. Now just observe how it is navigating. See this? Whenever you got a June 2026, then it gets stopped here, exited. Because we haven't still selected the date. We just implemented the logic, which will select the proper month and year. So perfectly working fine. Now, once it is selected or once it is decided month and year by using this looping statement, then we need to go to the date part. We need to select the date. So what is this while loop will do? This while loop will select expected month and year. So once it is done, now create another loop where we will capture the data. So before selecting the date, we already specified our expected date. So now what we need to do, we need to capture all the dates from this date picker and compare each and every date from our expected date. And whenever it is get matched, then we have to click on the data. So basically this is the table. So from this table, we should able to capture all the dates from the table. So let us see how we can do. This is basically table element. Okay, so let us capture this. This is basically class. So I'm using class. So table is matching. So what exactly we need from the table inside the T body, inside every TR, the TD tags are there. In every TR, TD tags are there. So we don't need to bother about the TRs. We directly go and get the TDs. So in this particular class, space directly say TDs. 35 elements are matching, including the spaces also. Sometimes the dates will be displayed in the empty spaces also. Okay, so it is one is started from Thursday here. So this particular locator, what I'm doing here by giving the space, what space will do, it will directly jump to the next element. So first it will go to this element and then directly jump to the TD tags. It is basically skipped all the rows and everything. So directly get the TD tags. And now this locator is getting all the dates from the date picker. So let's capture them. So once the while loop is decided, then first capture all the dates. So await page dot locator, page dot locator, specify the locator. And this is basically return all the dates in the form of locator format. But to use for of loop, I need an array format. So what is the method we have to use to convert this into array format? All method we have to use, simple, all, that's it. So this will return all the dates in the form of an array, all the date locators in the form of an array. So that I'm going to store in another variable, const all dates. Okay, this is basically what it is, an array, string type of an array. So if you put the cursor, it will show you locator array, not a string, locators. This array contains the locators, all date locators. Now we need to write a for loop. Let us read each and every date one by one from this all dates. How to read using for of, sorry. Here we need to define a variable. Let's define let date like that. So from all the dates, it will capture the first date element. And from that date element, we need to capture the text value from the date element. So how to capture the text of this particular date? Await date dot. You can use text content or inner text. So I'm using inner text now. Inner text. So this will actually return the date in the text format that I'm going to store in another variable. I call it as a date text. Right. So now we capture the text from the date element, and that we need to compare with our expected date is equal or not. So we'll implement one logic. If the date text equal to our date, whatever date we specified at the beginning. So that date equal, and then what we should do, we should compare it. So sorry, date text is equal to date. And this comparison appears to be unintentional because the types of string and locator have no overlap. So from the date text, we are already in a text, date text we captured. So this is our date text, okay. And what about the date? Sorry, we use this variable here, right? This is basically locator. And here it is taking this one actually, but we need this one. Okay. So what we need to do, we will just try to change the variable name here. Okay. So instead of date, I just try to change the variable called dt. So make it as a dt. Okay. Now it is fine. So from the data, I capture the inner text and compare this date text with our date. So what is this date? Date is 15. Currently we mentioned here. Okay. If both are equal, then what we should do? We should go and click on the date. So dt dot click. We need to perform the click action. So as soon as both are get matched, we need to perform the click action. So here this will throw promise. So await date dot click. As soon as you click on the date, we need to exit from the for loop. Immediately say break. Okay, this is a logic which we have implemented for date selection. So what we have done, first we captured all the dates available in the table, and then we read each and every date into this variable by using for of loop. And again, from every date, we capture the text element, text value, and compare the text value with our expected date. And if they are matching, go and click on the date and break the loop. If they are not matching, then again, go up and get another date. And this loop will repeat till particular date is get matched. And as soon as the date is get matched, then it will exit from the for loop. So this is implementation for date selection. And first it will select the month and year, then it will go and select the date. Done. So logic is implemented successfully. Now we will test with the different dates and different months and different years. It is working or not, we will check. So 2026, June 15th, I have selected. Now go back terminal and then try to execute one more time. 2026, June 15. It will go very faster. Now we can see this. June 15, 2026. Perfectly selected date. Now let me make it as a June 2027. We'll see whether it is able to navigate till 2027 June or not. And let's make the date is also, let's say 25. And remember, we are trying to select the date from the future, not from the past. Okay. Now execute one more time. Okay, now you can see it is navigating till 2027. June 25th is got selected. Perfectly working. Okay, so with this, we successfully implemented the logic for selecting the future date. Future date. Now, how we can select the past one, past date or past month? Same logic, we no need to do any change. The only one thing is, instead of clicking the next button, just you need to click on the previous button. That's the only one change. Okay. So, but how we can write a single code which will able to handle future and past, both should able to handle. So we will try to customize the code later. First of all, let us see the logic. So we implemented for future. Now let us implement for the past. But most of the times in your real applications, you cannot select past and future from the same date picker. Either you can select only future or you can select past, but both are not possible in single date picker. Okay, remember that. But here, this is the demo application, demo element. So we can try both. Now, let me select the past date. And if you want to select the past date, we need to comment this one for now. Later, I will show you a single piece of code which will handle both. Now, instead of clicking on the next button, we need to clicking on the previous button. Take this previous and take this class. Now we need to remove the space part and then it will able to locate previous part. So get this and just change it. So Lakshmi, I already told you this is a demo application. Okay, so we can select the future and also past. But in the real-time applications, we can select only one, either future or past. Okay, so because this is a demo application, so we can select everything, either past or future. So I already told you this many times. I think you are not here, you are not listening. Okay. See how we can select the past one. I just disable the future one, just commented. Now let us see the past one. Okay. So to select the past one, we need to again change this date, right? So let us make 2023. Okay, let's 2023, June 15. I'm just going to the past. Rest of the logic is exactly same. Okay, no need to change. Instead of clicking on the next, suppose we are taking the current month and year. If it is not matching, we went to the future. But this time we need to go to the past like this. Okay, all right. So now we can just have done a simple change. Now data also have changed. Now execute. So in the demo applications, it is not disabled. Okay, it is working fine. Now you can see it is went to past. 2023 June 15 is got selected. Okay, so we have implemented something which will able to handle either future date or past date. So at a time we can enable only one. So both we cannot enable at one shot. But now what I'm doing, I'm trying to customize this code, which will able to handle whichever date I provided. Either it can be future or it can be past. The same code should work without enabling, without disabling. Okay. That is one thing I will implement. The second thing is, suppose you have multiple date pickers on your web page in multiple pages. You have, let's say, 5 to 6 date pickers. For every date picker, to write this particular logic is very difficult thing, right? So you should be duplicate the same code for every date picker because design will not change. Design is same, but you have multiple date pickers on your application. So you need to duplicate this code every time for every date picker. So that is another tedious task. So to avoid this duplication part, we will try to implement a reusable function. Okay, so once you implement a reusable function, and whenever you encounter with some date picker, just call the date picker function just by passing the date. That's it. You can create a function, your reusable function, and call that function by passing proper parameters. That's it. That function will take care of selecting the date. It can be future or it can be past, whatever it is. So like that, we need to customize the code. Okay. So now let us try to optimize and customize this code properly by writing user defined function or reusable function. So what I will try to do is how we can implement reusable function and how we can use it inside the test. So let's keep the test to one side. So what I will do is, listen this careful. This is a crucial part. We understood how to implement the logic. So now I hope everybody is clear about the logic. Now what I will do is I will try to optimize the code. I'll try to customize the code which will able to handle both the future and past. And also we will try to achieve the reusability feature. Okay. By using function. So what I will try to do is here I will create one TypeScript function. So how to create a function in TypeScript? Using function key. You can create an anonymous function, arrow function, whatever function you want, whichever way you want to create, you can create. It's not a problem. So I'm creating a function with some name, select data. Okay, this is a function I'm creating. I will call this function whenever I encounter with some date picker element by passing proper parameters. Okay, so in this function, I will pass some parameters because we need to provide some pass here parameters. Whatever data we provided here, this data is required for this function, right? So what I'll do is I will take a few parameters because inside the function, we need also page picture. Inside the function, we need also page picture. But in the real-time code inside this, we use page picture, right? Many places. So this page picture also we need to pass inside this function. Page picture is also we need to pass inside the function, right? So what we need to do is we need to pass that page picture later. First of all, I will define a variable which will hold year, month, and date. So target year. What is the type of this? String type, comma, target month, string type, again, target date. This is also string. So three parameters I'm expecting: year, month, and target date. Apart from these three, we need also page. What is the type of this is page. So we need to have this page parameter. The type of the page parameter is a page. Even this parameter also we need to pass from the test itself. So whenever you specify the type of page, we need to import this actually. We need to import. Here we are not importing because we are directly using an object of the page, right? But here we need to import. So here you can define page. P is a capital letter. P is a capital letter. So this we need to specify. Other than this, what else we required? This function should able to select both past and future dates. This function, same function, should able to select both past and future dates. So for that, I'm defining that also we need to tell when I call the function. So when I call the function, that also we need to tell whether this date is a future date or past date. Accordingly, this function will work. Okay. So to receive that parameter, I'm creating one more variable. Let's say Boolean variable I'm taking is a future. True or false. If it is a true, then it will select future date. If it is false, then select the past date. So I'm taking is a future is one variable I'm taking. And this is a Boolean type of variable. Okay, these are the parameters required. Now, based on this, we will implement the logic. Now, what I'll do is I will just copy this entire stuff, whatever the logic we have implemented here from the while. I'll remove this part completely from here. I'll remove everything and put that in logic inside the function. Okay, just observe. Now, in the main test, I don't have any logic. Okay, let's keep this one side. And just copied that in the selected date. Now we need to do some modification of the function. So what are the modifications? So basically, inside the select date, we are trying to use this page picture. And whenever you are trying to use this page picture, definitely this function should be asynchronous function because inside the function, we are using await statement also, right? So whenever you are using await statement, definitely that function should be asynchronous function. So when you go to the test here, why you put this asynchronous for this arrow function? Because inside this asynchronous function, we are using await statements. So that is the reason we put async. Similarly, even this select date function also an asynchronous function. How we can make this as an asynchronous function? By adding async keyword in front of this. This is the additional thing. Adding asynchronous. Okay. Now, so let's try to modify this code. So while true, we are capturing the current month and current year. So we compare with our expected month and expected year. And from where this month and year comes from, we are already passing the parameters here. See, target year and target month. So we need to change that. So instead of month, we need to say target month. Instead of year, we need to change it as a target year. That's it. This is one modification. So if the current month equal to target month and current equal to target year, simply break the loop. Now, this will select the future date. This will select the past date. Now we need to execute only one based on the parameter. So is future is a true, then we will execute this particular statement. Is future is false, then we will execute this statement. Okay. So this time we need to add if condition now. If is future, we will take the parameter here. Is future is a true. You can put a true here or else optional. If it is a true, then only this condition will be executed. If this is the true, and then go and execute this future, enable the statement. Else, close this. Else, execute past date. Okay, so this is the future and this is the past. That's it. Okay, so if the use future value is true, then go and click on the next button. If it is a false, then go and click on this button. Okay, so this is how I will also put some await in the real time and the execution time. We can see that, otherwise it will go very faster. Await page dot wait for timeout. Let's make 2000 milliseconds is enough. Done. So we have successfully implemented this logic inside the function. We have implemented this logic. Remember this. So where we have implemented this inside the function. So this will go and select the day, month and year. And after that, date selection is same. So this particular thing is also part of the function. Yeah, now come to the date. So we captured all the dates from the date picker and we're comparing this. And here, what is this date? Our expected date. So target date. Get that variable and hold it here. Okay, so here, one important thing. So we have captured the inner text. And if the dates are matching, we are clicking on the date and we are breaking the loop itself. So this is a function implementation. So whatever logic we have written inside the test, we have separated that logic inside the function. Select date function. Fine. Now let's go back to the main test. So main test also we need to modify something. So in the main test, we have not written any logic because this is reusable logic. So whenever you want to select the date from the date picker, simply call this function by passing proper parameters. That's it. This will take care of it. Now come to the main thing. So launching the page is same. Clicking on the date picker, visibility verification is same. And clicking on the date input is also same. Now what we need to, this particular date we have to pass to the select function. So how to call the function? In TypeScript, directly we can call because both are there in the same file. So select the date, scroll down, select the date, and inside the date, we need to pass this data, right? So in whichever order we specified these parameters, in exactly same order we need to pass. First year, month, date, page, and then future or not. So year, month, and date. So I will pass this year, comma, month, comma, date, comma, page also we need to pass as a parameter. So whatever page we have, get it here, the same page. And also future or not. So is this future date or not? Let's say, let's make it as a 2026. Now this is the future. So we can pass true or false. Let's pass it true. That's it. So we call the function by passing proper data. Now after that, it will go and execute and everything will be selected. Finally, I will add one assertion here. So what is an assertion? What is our expected date? Expected date. Suppose 2026 June 15. If I selected this, let's say 2026 June 15th, right? So if I select June 15th, so this is the date we are expecting on the input box. So that we need to verify. So this is what we are expecting. So whatever date we are passing here, after conversion, we will get like this. So this is the value we are expecting on the date picker element, expected value. So this is exactly the MVM DD YYYY format. Okay, remember this. Now put one assertion, await expect date input. So whatever date input we have taken, take the same element. Okay, now we can verify to have value, not the text. Okay, this is the expected data I'm passing. That's it. So this is our validation. Okay, done. So let's go and execute. So as of now, I'm just passing target date. This is our future target date. Also, I will take another data set just for verification. This is past target date. For now, I comment, later I will test with the same function. Okay, now I have written single function which will able to handle both future and past. Let's go and execute. So June 2026, June 15th, it should be selected, and this is my assertion. Go back to terminal and then execute. It is navigating. Okay, somewhere it is getting failed. So please wait timeout for 2 seconds. Where you put this statement? Okay. So go back. Here, a small change. So is future. If it is future, then await page dot locator. So next dot click is okay. Else await page dot locator, previous dot click, and after exiting this, if I know, then here we put await page dot wait for timeout 2000 seconds. Okay, don't have any problem in this. Okay, nothing is wrong. Let me try to pass the data properly. We pass 2026 year, month, date, page, and true. And receiving year, month, date, page, and then true. Okay, so I don't see any issue. Again, let me run one more time. So as of now, yeah, July 2025 is exited somewhere. I think some validation is got failed. So 2026 received string is empty. Okay. Let us this comment this expect for some time. We will enable this later. Let us check first the logic is working fine or not. So go to terminal, new terminal again. is stopping July 2025, August 2025. So it is stopping exactly August 2025. It is not moving further. Do you see any problem in this? Just to overlook something is missing. In August 2024, it is getting stopped. Target month and target year 2026. June should not have any spaces or anything. Which line it is? On which line? So this is current month and current year. 72. I commented this actually. So this is a validation part. I just commented. I think we already put this timeout here. I don't think so. Here it is needed. Okay. Just a minute. Mm, And this. Okay. I think that because of that wait time, it is giving an error. Okay, now it is successfully because we already put some wait time here. I think there it is not needed. You can just uncomment this. Okay, now let us add a session also. Let me add this a session. So whatever date we said past here, the same thing should be selected from the drop down. Okay, yeah, perfect. So June 6th is June 15 and 2026. Perfectly working. Now let us try with the past. So I'll comment this. Same logic, we no need to change anything. Just I'm selecting the past. Past target date. Let's make 2024 June 15. And here expected also 2024 June 15. Same. Let's try now. Oh, sorry. It is moving. It is clicking on the next button actually. So we need to do some change again. Yeah, because we pass the flag as a true, right? That's the problem. So we need to pass flag as a false because it is not future date, right? I'll put here. For future date, it should be true. Past date, it should be false. Okay. Perfect. So 2024, June 15th is got selected. And my assertion is passed, right? So this is how we can implement logic. So this is very, very useful. So creating reusable function is a recommended one. So don't try to include the logic inside the test if they are repeating. So if you have a multiple date pickers, Instead of writing the logic multiple times, you can simply write one single time and you can reuse it. Okay. So this is jQuery date picker. So jQuery date picker in the sense what? You can just select the date and arrow marks. Sometimes you don't need to use arrow marks. So for example, if I look at the second one, you no need to use this arrow marks. Simply, instead of handling this arrow marks, you can simply select the date from this drop down. Whichever year you want to select from this, you can select and directly jump to the date. So date selection logic is exactly the same. So whatever logic I have written for date selection, it is exactly the same. But instead of this clicking future or past, you can simply avoid this code. Okay, just avoid this code and capture the current month and year, compare it. If not matching, then what we should do? We should go and get the month and year from the drop downs. So this is a simple code which we can modify in case of this. Okay. So these are all jQuery drop downs. Sometimes you can see Bootstrap drop down. So Bootstrap date pickers. Then how we can handle Bootstrap date pickers. So we can, I'll show you. This is another application. So I will give some assignments so you guys can try rest of them. And this is Bootstrap drop down. You can just click on it. It will open like this. So here you can select check-in and check-out time. So check-in and check-out date. And here you cannot go past, only future you can go. So on the same box, you can select the check-in date and check-out date. And suppose if current month and year is not matching, then you can navigate to the next like this. And check-in date and check-out date you can select. Right? So let's see how we can handle this Bootstrap date picker element. Let's create another class, another file. So jQuery date picker, and this is Bootstrap date picker dot spec dot ts. Okay, so almost the logic is exactly the same, but slight changes are there. So I'll let you know what are the changes. So I already have the script. Let me copy it here. So you will understand this code. It is very simple. Okay, so I have not written any reusable function here. So this is the direct logic. In case if you want to write a reusable function, you can implement that logic. You can just divide the code into a reusable function. So again, here there are two things. We don't have a future and past, but we have something called check-in date and check-out date. So two dates we have to select from this. So one is from this date picker, second one is the second part. There are two date pickers parallelly we need to handle this. There are two date pickers parallelly we need to handle. In first date picker, we need to select the check-in date, and second one, we will select the checkout date. So you can write two different reusable functions also for selecting check-in date and selecting checkout date. Okay, so now let's see the how we have implemented this code. The first thing, let us launch this page, booking.com. And then we need to click on this element to get this date picker. So as soon as you click on this element, you will see this particular date picker element. So I perform the same task. So here I click on the date picker field, it will open the date picker. Now I have provided some date, check-in date selection. So check-in date is what I said, 2026, June 20th. So this is the data. Check-in year, check-in month, and check-in day. Now we'll implement the logic. So same logic we need to implement. If I look at this, this is the box. So where we need to select the check-in, we can select the check-in wherever you want. First, we need to capture this one, November 2025. And it is matching with your expected month and year, you need to check. If it is not matching, then capture this one and select. If it is not matching, then click on the next arrow and get this. It's not matching, again click on the next. Take this. It is also not matching, then click on the next. So you need to keep clicking on the next button till your month and year is got matched with your expected month and year. So this is the first logic. And then here you can look at this. So I have written while loop, exactly the same logic which you were implemented previously. And we'll start while true. And here we extracted check-in month in year. Suppose if you inspect this particular element, this one, and you can see there is a H3 tag, polite is there, H3 and some text is there. Okay, February 2026 is there. Area hyphen live. What is this? Is basically is a property. So let's try to use this property along with the class and see what are the elements it is matching. So in this, go to selector hub. H3 is a tag. So H3. In this, I'm providing the property. If I use this particular locator, see, two elements are matching because there are two date pickers are there. So this one is matching, this one is matching. Now, in where we need to select the check-in date? In the first box. In the first box, we need to select the check-in box. So we will use the same locator for the first box and the second box also. In the box, in the sense, it is a date picker. Right. So let us take this locator, and here I'm used. And I want to capture the first box for check-in date selection. So use nth method. Nth of 0, or you can use another method called first. This is also fine. Index will start from 0. For nth method, index will start from 0. So you can use either first method like this, or you can use nth of 0. And from that, get the inner text. And basically, this is include both actually. If I look at this, there is no separate locator for month and year. So one locator is matching for both month and year. But again, this locator is matching with two elements. We need to extract only first element. So that is the reason I've taken nth of 0 of inner text. So check in month and year captured. So from this, we need to separate because month and year we need to compare separately. Right? If I get this directly, we cannot compare this value with our expected month and expected year separately. We need to split them. Month and year, both we need to split them. So how we can split them? We can use split method. So take this check in month and year, split, where we need to split based on the space. And once you split this, what this will return? So for example, this is my text. And after splitting, this is the value which is got returned. So this is one single value, this is another value, two values. Where it will store actually, it will store in array. It will store in string type of an array. So from the string type of an array, this is the first element, this is the second element in an array. So I want to extract the first one. So how we can extract the element from the array, first element, using index 0. So that I specified here. I have not created separate array variable. I'm directly doing in one single statement. So from this, whatever the two values are written, from these two values, 0 element should be February. That is a month captured into the current month variable. Same thing I repeated. So check in month and year dot split space 1. 1 means what? 2026. That is a year. Okay. So from the date picker, I captured month and year and separated them into two values. Now I compare this. The current month equal to the current month, what check-in month, what we are expecting. And current year is compared with the check-in year, comparing on it. See, both are equal, then break the loop, or not equal, then what we should do? We should click on the next month. That means we need to click on the next button like this. So how many times it will click? Till it matches with our check-in month and check-in year. So once it is selected, the while loop will be exited. Now scroll down. So here, date selection. So how we can select the date? Again, if you look at this locator, we need to capture all the dates from the date picker. So see this. It is basically matching with the two bodies. This one and also this one. Two tables are there, right? So two date pickers are there. So two are matching. So now we want to capture all the dates from the first box. So how to extract the first box with this locator? Use nth of 0. This will return the first box. From the first box, I'm written chaining locator, chaining. From the first box, we need only TDs here because TD contains a dates. So from the first box, I want to capture only TDs. So from the first box, we have reached here. And again, I'm writing continuation of locator dot TD, which is matching with all the dates, and then all. This will return all the dates from the date picker. Okay. So I'm taking this variable for assertion. Later I will use it. So as of now, all dates we captured. So we will read each and every date one by one. So all dates read into date and capture the inner text of the date, then compare. So our date text equal to check-in date, then click on the date. As soon as you click on the date, make this variable check-in date as selected true and break the loop. So why I have mentioned this true and false? Because after exiting from this, I want to put some assertion. What is the assertion? Still check-in date is got selected true, then my test is passed. So that I'm mentioning to be true T. This is an assertion. Okay, this is a logic which I have implemented for what? Check-in date selection. Only check-in date selection from here to here. Same thing we will repeat for checkout date selection. Only the difference is instead of taking the first box in these two places, we will take the second box. Okay, instead of taking these two, nth of 0 means what? Representing first box. Now when I make nth of 1, that is representing the second box, and rest of the logic is exactly the same. Now scroll down. Checkout date selection. And here I put some checkout date, 2026 July 25. Again, same loop. But here, instead of nth of 1, nth of 0, we need to take nth of 1. That is representing the second box, because checkout date we have to select from the checkout second box. Right? So again, we have split month and year compared with our expected month and year. And again, from the same box, we capture the TD locators, all locators converted into arrays. And again, checkout date selected, by default, I'm taking false. As soon as we selected here, I'm making it as a true. And then come out from the loop and then put one assertion. Checkout date selected is also true. And timeout. That's it. So again, if you want to write two different functions for check-in date selection, you can put this check-in date selection entire thing is one function. And you can create another function, checkout date selection in another function. Two different functions we can create. Okay, or else you can create one single function which will select both check-in date and checkout date. But you need to pass a proper flag, whether it is check-in date or checkout date. So in that way also, we can customize the code. Okay, let us try to execute this. Check-in date and checkout date. So check-in date is 2026 June 20. Checkout date is 2026 July 25. Let me run this code. This is called Bootstrap Date Pickers. Most of the times you can see these type of elements on the trending latest modern web applications. And say Bootstrap Date Picker. Okay. The core logic is same, but only thing is you need to properly implement. Now you can see June 20th, 2025 is got selected, June 26, 20, and July 2026, 25 is got selected. So all two assertions are get passed. So this is how we can handle the Bootstrap Date Pickers. The core logic is same. First capture the month and year, compare with your expected month and year, not matching, then go next, till it matches with your expected month and year. That is one. Once you decided month and year, once it is selected, then jump into the date selection. So the same core logic is same, but the elements can be different, design can be different. Okay. So there are similar type of drop downs you can see on the different applications. So let me show you another one. And you guys can try this as an assignment. I will give you an assignments because every date picker is not possible to discuss in our sessions. You guys practice n number of date pickers. Look at this. So this is another type of date picker. Again, same. And here you can see these options are disabled because we cannot go back to the previous. We can select only future. You can click on this arrow mark and you can select. Even because it's a real application, future dates are disabled. So most of the time, so travel applications won't allow you to select the date after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Up to certain time, they can take, you can book the tickets. So if I look at this, this is May 2025, current is 12. So up to when you can book the ticket. So throughout this month, all options are enabled. Now in the next month also available. And as you can see, up to July 1st, up to July 14th, it is available. So again, after that, it is disabled. Bookings are not opened. So you can select the date from this date picker till July 2025 14th. After that, you cannot select. So this is also one type of date picker. So you can try this based on this knowledge. I will give you some assignment. You guys can try this. Okay, let me show you assignment. So this we already discussed. This is the drop down. So you guys can try this. This is one type of drop down. So here there are two drop downs you guys can try as an assignment. The first one I already told you. So similarly, you can try the second one. But here you no need to navigate back or forwards. You can simply select whichever month you want, whichever year you want, and then grab the dates and compare with them and select the date like this. And here the format is this one, DDMM YYY format. And here you cannot handle this because these are completely inbuilt date pickers. This is all not a separate element. So you can use fill method directly. So here you can use fill. Here also you can use, these are two different input boxes. So by using fill method, you can try this. So these are the two date picker elements you can try. And this is the one range. And then another one is, this is again one end-to-end test case, which contains a different type of elements, not only date picker elements. Okay, now I can look at this. So this is a dummy ticket booking application. So there are so many elements are present in the web page. You need to try this. So select the first one, dummy ticket for visa application, which is 1,200. Select the first checkbox, first radio button. Then provide all the information. This is input box. This is another input box. And this is the date picker, date of birth. Date of birth. You can see I'm trying to select the past ones. You can select, but future ones you cannot select. So up to 2025, it is there. So you cannot select. So this is a date of birth field. You can try this date picker. This is one date picker. And radio buttons, we already know. These are also radio buttons, input boxes. Again, you can see this is a date of birth. This is a departure date. This is also date picker. And this is a drop down element. And again, radio buttons, input boxes. Again, this is another drop down menu. This is also drop down. This is input box, pin code. So once you enter all this data, finally what you need to do is whatever the product you selected here, dummy ticket for visa application 1,200, the same thing should display on the table. So this text you need to validate and the total price you need to validate. Okay, for example, let's say I'm taking last dated ticket 2,400. So it should be 2,400. The product name is different. Okay, so once you click on the place order, right, it is giving error because I have not filled the date. So once you click on the place order, it will go to the payment options and everything. So don't go to that. This is just dummy application. Just try to interact with this element. Try to fill the data in those elements and try to interact with the date pickers. And one more important thing, in the same page, you can see multiple date pickers. There are multiple date pickers. And design is same exactly. You can see this departure date. So the same design you can see for other date, return date, same kind of a design. Even for date of birth also, you can see the same design. You can see the design is same. So to handle all these type of date pickers, you can implement one single function. Just call that function by passing the date properly, and that should be able to handle for all the date pickers. So this is our assignment. I provided all the steps here. Go to ticket type, select the ticket type, and enter the passenger details. And then enter travel details, additional information, delivery options, enter billing details, and then verify the product details in the table. So just you can click on the place order link, but after that you can stop automating. Don't go further. Okay, these are the steps you can try. Okay, and I think ISRTC, you can try this as an assignment. I will provide solution for all these things. You guys can try and sort out. Okay. So the core implementation, the logic is same, but you need to do some customizations according to the design. So month and year, we need to first grab from the date picker and compare with your expected month and year. Once it is selected, then go with the date, capture all the dates, and select each and every date one by one. So that is a procedure. Okay, so in the data, you no need to worry about this. Just use fill method, it will work. Use fill method. Just inspect that element. You can inspect this actually. Inspect, and you can see this is the input element, start date, or you can use placeholder also. So take the element dot fill and provide the text. Okay. And again, this is the format dd YY. So this is the format date exactly we have to pass. Similarly, take the second element. This is also input element, end date. Use it dot fill. That's it. Using fill method, you can directly handle this too. Okay. Right. So that's all for today's session about date pickers concept. And you can practice more number of date pickers. And I think these are enough to practice. And you can focus on some other type of elements. Okay. Yes. So we'll stop here for today's session. Tomorrow we'll continue.